Good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, and welcome to episode 55 of the UK Chinwag Pinball Podcast thingy. We've got something a little bit different for you today. It's not just myself and Spencer, although Spencer is here amongst others. So we've been doing this, and this is predominantly a UK podcast, as you'll know. But sometimes we reach the hand of friendship across the pond, across the water, and we say to people, "Oi, would you like to come and join us and have a chat with us and tell us about your pinball journey, your pinball adventure?" Most people ignore us. If I'm honest, they just ignore. They think, "Who are these? Who are these people?" And they mute us. And some, the best people, the loveliest people, but like Todd and like Jerry, for instance, they turn around and say, "Yes, we'd love to join you." And today is just such a joyous day because we're joined by somebody who I first became aware of on YouTube probably a couple of years ago when I was searching around. He's recently produced a very good video, actually, which is basically what you need to do if you want to get into the hobby of pinball. I really like him. I like his stuff because he's like us. He doesn't really do streaming. There's nothing again. I've got nothing against streaming, but his type of YouTubing is my type of YouTubing, and it's very much what we like to do here on the Chinwag. Very recently, he dissected the new James Bond release from Stern very, very well, with just some hazy, grainy pictures. He knew where the octos were, he knew where the switches were. And if you remember, I think it was a couple of Chinwags back, I referenced his video and I said, "Here's a man who knows about pinball." And here he is right now. It's Cary Hardy. How are you, sir?
Oh, what's going on? I didn't expect such a lengthy introduction. And I also want to know who else you've reached out to and they have not responded to you so I can reach out to them as well.
I couldn't possibly say. I'll tell you afterwards, definitely. But we're very glad that you could join us. You're not here on your own, by the way. Spencer's here.
There you go.
On the ends, on
Coming
the far
at me from
end.
both sides.
Oh yes. That's the way we like
pinned
it.
him in. It's
Not the first time I've been between two men.
Just don't make eye contact, otherwise we'll just get the giggles. Yeah?
Sandwiched between two Englishmen. There you go. Lovely.
A jolly holiday.
Thanks for joining us, mate. We really, really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
How long have you been doing the whole YouTube thing then?
YouTube, I want to say I've had the channel, just my name, Cary Hardy, just as a YouTube channel. I think I started that back up when the infancy of YouTube. And like the very first thing I uploaded, I believe, was like one of my PC builds that I did. And I didn't expect to ever do anything with it really at all. And then I think probably about early 2018, maybe late 2017, I have another channel and it's still up on YouTube, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the whole thing that millions of other people are doing. I'm going to do where I play a video game and I commentate as I'm playing the video game. Not a very niche thing to get into because there's a ton of people out there doing it, but I was like, I'll throw my hat into the ring and we'll just see how it works. And nothing ever took off on it. So it was one of those where me and my buddy were playing a couple of games and I felt like for me, I enjoyed doing it to an extent, but it became work way too fast because I guess because I had to like force myself to play a game and I don't want to play that game, but I need to at least finish it for the video series that I was doing for it and stuff. It didn't speak to me. It wasn't a pleasure to do. And it wouldn't be until mid 2018 where my mom, she got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, sorry, man.
And
Wow.
I needed a distraction. I needed something, to take my mind off the fact that I was about to lose my mother at that time. And so I was like, I've got these machines that I work on. I do things for all kinds of things that do with pinball. Let me try throwing my hat in the ring for that. So I started to do video sessions relating to me taking apart. I think it was X-Files was the first game that I put up on there. It was probably about mid 2018. And I found that it wasn't work. It was, since I have, such a passion for the hobby, that it didn't feel forced. So I had no problem recording and then editing and then uploading it to YouTube or anything. And it was just like another thing. It didn't feel like I was being forced to do something. And that's where it all really began back in probably about 2018 on YouTube, at least.
So do you think maybe that what it was, the content before when you were gaming or doing whatever you were doing, it was basically you didn't have the love for gaming that you had for pinball, quite possibly. I know you do other things because I know you do arcade machines and whatnot, but it was the pinball that really grabbed you.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I still play video games. It's not that I'm against them. I guess my passion for pinball outweighs my passion for video gaming. And I still have
the other day, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I say video games, I'm like PC gaming, like playing on your personal computer versus like an arcade kind of thing. But I did at one point before I got into like pinball, it was going to be arcade. I thought that was actually what I was going to get into was arcades because I bought my first arcade machine, and then I was like, I need a pinball machine. And then once I got into pinball, it was just no looking back. It was.
So when was that? When was the first pinball machine?
That was right after I got married, honestly. So it was like 2012, I want to say. Yeah.
It was a wedding present to yourself.
It was literally, I got married at the end of November. So our 10-year anniversary is coming up, actually. And there was an auction that was in that December. And actually, yes, I went to the auction. And the very next day, we took off for our honeymoon cruise. So it was like I went to this auction, and it was still to this day the biggest and longest lasting auction I have ever been to. It's been kind of like a downhill thing since then, but this had so many machines and so many pinballs, and the prices were so much better back then as well. But but even at that time for me, when they were saying when their games were selling for what they were for pinball, I was like, there ain't no way I'm gonna be able to afford something like that or whatever. I was mainly just there to get me a arcade cabinet to convert it into a MAME so I could have multiple machines in one. I didn't have the real estate that I do now. So I was like, all right, I want to get one cabinet. I got a cabinet for like $50. It was a really good dyno cabinet, a 4-player. I had to do a bunch of conversions on it and stuff, but I got it. But I was hoping to get a pinball machine. Didn't matter. I didn't know much about them, whatever, what year, make. I didn't know much about it. So, but I remember I was texting the wife and I was telling her like, hey, we're about to head out of here. At this time, it was like, I don't know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And the auction literally had been going.
It was still going
10 o'clock in the morning all the way until midnight. So it was one of those things where it was like if we needed to get lunch or whatever, it's like, okay, so this next row, I have no interest in buying anything on this row. So we got time to run a Taco Bell and then come back or something. So it was all that. So we were already pretty wore out. But my buddy was there. He got essentially the same cabinet as me, which is really large cabinet. I forgot what they're called, but they're literally like one giant piece, and it's a monitor, and then it separates into the cabinet where it's a 4-player. I forgot the style of it, but he had one too. They're both monsters to freaking move around. But I get to the point to where I'm like, hey, we're about done here. I didn't get a pinball machine. And I sent that text, and then literally like within seconds, I hear the auctioneer, he voices out, no one wants to buy a pinball machine for $25. And I was like, well, yeah, I just raised my hand. Like, why does no one want a pinball machine for $25? I'm crazy. Who would turn that down? So I like raised my hand. I'm like, yeah. He's like, sold. I'm like, that's weird. I got a pinball machine. And then like the crowd that was in front of me parted like the Red Sea. Then I got to see what I just bought for $25 because I had no clue. I didn't know the name of the game or anything. And the thing is, it was so bad that I still didn't know what the name of the game was because the back glass for it, the paint was chipped off so much.
Just raged,
it was more glass than it was orange.
Yeah.
So it comes up, and it was like immediate regret. I was like, because like after the auction fees and taxes, I paid more on the auction fees and taxes than I did for the actual machine itself. And it's like, this is stupid. So I go up to it. I try to turn it on. Doesn't turn on. Then my brother's giving me shit for saying like, hey, you spent $25 on a 200-pound paperweight. How do you feel? And I'm like, oh, God. And you have to take it with you because if you don't, then you get charged an extra $200 some odd for abandoning equipment and stuff like that. So it was like, I can't just leave this here.
Yeah, you
I
have to
didn't
take
want,
it away that day.
I know I didn't want to take it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I was like, I got to take it away. So I took that and the 2 arcade machines and we went home, and then I loaded them into the house, and there they stayed for the next week because I was on my honeymoon vacation. So when I got back, I got to playing around with that machine and figuring out, why it doesn't turn on, why it's not working, and started learning about it. And whenever I started to figure things out when it came to fuses, and then eventually what end of stroke switches were, that was an interesting find on that one because that's the great thing about old EMs, because it was a 71 Bally C-Ray. I want to say that was the year that game came out, but it was an old electromechanical machine. And I remember when I got it going, I was able to flip the flippers. I was like, all right, sweet. But I noticed that every time I hit the left flipper, the lights in my house would dim. So I'm just sitting here hitting this, watching the lights in my house kind of dim down. I'm like, that can't be normal. So I started doing some more research on why I would be getting something like this. And sure enough, the end of stroke switch on it was bad or non-existent. So it was constantly using the high capacity. And I was telling my son, I'm like, all right, look, you can play this game, but don't hold the left flipper down. I don't know what will happen, but don't hold it down.
Not for any period of time, you mean? You could flip it.
You can flip it, but just don't hold it down.
Sure.
I mean, dimming lights is one thing, and I remember it was probably the same night. I was sitting there talking to my friend in the dining room, and the lights go dim, but they don't come back up. And I'm just sitting there looking around, and he's like, Dad, there's smoke coming from the machine. And I look over there, and there's smoke starts coming out of the coin door and stuff. And I open the coin door, billow of smoke coming out. Evidently, the coil caught fire a little bit. But so that's the good thing about electromechanicals is that they can catch fire and they could basically be put out and get back to working again once you replace the faulty equipment. But that was a good learning experience. But the main thing is that I learned from that game, and it took me multiple attempts to sell this damn thing to somebody.
Yeah, there'll be a reason for that.
Yeah, it was I'm like, okay, first of all, I feel like I'm definitely certain people are in this hobby. When they get a pinball machine, they're like, oh, it's a pinball machine. I can look online. Oh, look how much these pinball machines are selling for. I should be able to sell this game because that's what everybody else is selling games for. A car is a car. A pinball is a pinball. They all are the same thing. So, of course, my first price is stupid. And I'm because I don't know any better at this point in time.
It might as well be an Addams Family for all you know.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. I'm just stupid amount of money. It wasn't. It wasn't really that bad, but it was still too expensive for what the hell it was. And I had someone that was nearby come over and basically pinpoint how wrong I am for pricing it the way I am, and how it's missing the tilt bobber, and how it's missing this. This shouldn't be this way. I mean, pointing out everything that I would catch definitely now, but at the time I didn't. So then I eventually sold it to somebody who was probably about an hour and a half away, but I had to deliver it. Then I deliver it, and as I'm setting it up, he has a change of heart. He's like, no, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I guess he was expecting a better condition pinball machine. So yeah,
and it was on fire as well, which wasn't helpful.
No one. I cleaned that up. No one knew.
Did you issue it? With a fire extinguisher that came with it.
Didn't have to. But so once again, had to take the damn machine back to the house after thinking I got rid of it. But eventually, I think I got the price down low enough that somebody came over, they played it, and it fully worked, and they bought it. And so I was like, sweet. But something about that, taking something that's not working, making it work. I cleaned it up a bit. I can't remember. I put new rubbers on it and everything, though. I don't know if I did that. But I guess it sparked something inside of me to where I was like, hey, I want to do that again. I want to get another machine, but I want to get a newer machine. I want to do a little bit of research this time around to figure out if it's something that I think I'm actually going to want to have. And so eventually I was putting feelers out, looking online, the usual Craigslist at this time and stuff. And that's when I found a Bally Spy Hunter. And I was like, okay, let me look it up. And that's when I discovered Todd Tuckey actually for the first time, was his videos. So I got to see, what the game could potentially look like, if I was to put, the effort and time and cleaning and stuff up and everything. But the game, it wasn't working. And I think I bought it for, I don't know, $200 or $300 at that time. No, the first one I bought was like maybe 600. So either way, it was a better deal than what the hell you're going to find today.
Yeah.
So, but taking that machine and the whole progress of going from it not working to making it work, especially it was much more pleasurable to work on solid state machines than it was to work on electromechanicals. I do not like working with the relays and all that kind of stuff. Anybody who repairs and restores electromechanicals, without a doubt, you've got my respect, because that's something I definitely do not like or want to do. Every time I open one up and if I have to like help somebody, because I do get calls around locally, and this guy's got an old one, and I'm like, I really don't feel like working on this, because then I got to go through every damn leaf switch and make sure it's clean. Ugh. But yeah, so that's basically where it really sparked, was whenever I got my first solid state and was able to get that game working, because I got it working in segments. Like first, I got it to power on, like yes. Then I got it to actually flip. I'm like, all right. Then I actually got the audio working on it. I was like, sweet. So then it turned into like, hey, I'm going to get it all cleaned up, get some LEDs in it. And I didn't know at that time if there was something special I had to get for LED conversions. It was like, do I need to buy some kind of special board, or there's special kind of LEDs? I didn't know. And so it was a good learning process. And I was like, I'm going to take everything off, get it all cleaned up, and put everything back on. So I didn't take any pictures whenever I disassembled the whole top side of this, because it was one of those where I'm like, take everything off, I'll remember how to put it all back together. I mean, literally every piece of hardware was inside one of those magnetic dishes that you can get at your hardware store. You throw everything in. So I had a giant pile of like bolts, screws, and posts and everything. And it's a hodgepodge orgy of hardware, just like, and it all goes on the top of this game somewhere. So I get it all cleaned up and I start to reassemble, and I realize that I don't know where things go again. I should have taken pictures, because, so that was the one and only time that I ever did that. I had to, look at a lot of pictures online of the game to figure out where things went again. But that was a good learning experience.
Did your marriage survive?
Yeah, it was, I think the deal is with my wife. I think she really questioned what my intentions were. I think when I got the third game, that's where she's like, hold on.
Okay.
She's like, what's going on here, kind of thing. But
yeah, number 3 is usually the danger.
That's usually where you're like, okay, hold up. 2 was, 1 was awesome. 2 was cool. 3, what are you trying to do here, kind of thing. And but the way it's been and the way it's always been, she's always been like, as long as we're not losing money, then she's completely fine with whatever I'm doing in my pinball world, kind of thing. So she understands that I'm well aware of what I'm doing now versus what I was doing back then, kind of thing.
So how many have you got now?
7 right there. And I've got Doctor Who and Swords of Fury in the dining room right now. So I got 9, I guess, here at the house.
That's pretty
Funny
cool.
enough, I got offered a Doctor Who today. Just you don't even know. About an hour ago. About an hour ago, I got a phone call.
I like Doctor Who.
Yeah, I said no, but
I'm
still waiting. The Iron Maiden Aerosmith switchover is happening as we speak, albeit rather slowly. So what have you got? Take us through your list of machines, Cary.
Okay, so I think the one that I've had the longest is my Last Action Hero over here. This one I got at another one of those auctions. And so it was the second to join the group after Spy Hunter. And let's see here. I think the next one after that, man, everything else has been relatively within the last couple of years, I want to say. No, I think the next one after that was probably the Getaway. And,
Getaway's good.
And I'm not sure how aware of this friggin' machine has been to you guys when it comes to me working on it, taking it from a project and getting it fixed up to where it's at. I don't know if you know, but Texas Pinball Festival, I did win Best of Show award for that restoration and all that kind of stuff that was on there, because this game looked really great. I had Steve Ritchie sign the back glass on it and stuff like that as well. He gave me plenty of compliments on what it looks like.
Oh, great.
But yeah, that one I spent way too much time, money, and effort on, kind of thing. It was one of those where it was very emotional when I won. And it was a very humbling and satisfying experience to be given that award for that game, especially since I had to wait an extra almost 2 years to even show it to anybody because of the pandemic.
Wow.
Because 2 TPFs.
Oh, right. That happened in lockdown, yeah.
Because it was ready to go 2 years ago plus. And then I was ready to take it, and then TPF got canceled. then I was like, okay, maybe next year. And then I was ready for it again, and it got canceled again. I'm like, okay, so I'm waiting even longer. I'm edging here, trying to get this game to be shown
There's
to
dust on
everybody. Yeah. So to get it there, it was taking a beating all weekend, which is already making me nervous because I'm like, this poor thing gets tested at the house, but you don't know a real true stress test until you take it to a show.
Sure.
And so then I've got World Cup Soccer over here. This is one of those games where I didn't think I would ever like a game like this because it's soccer. And but I remember playing it at Texas Pinball Festival years ago because there was no line on it. Nobody was waiting to play it. I'm like, all right, fine. This is just something to kill the time. So I started playing it, and then I was like, I think I like this game. So then I had the wife play it. She really liked it. So then it got on the wish list.
Well, tell us. I'll tell you what. While you're on there, World Cup Soccer, I've got one coming here within the next week or three. What can I expect from that? What do you love about that game?
Okay, when you get it, don't let it go.
Well, it's not mine. I have to. It's not mine, but I'll steal it. I will steal it. Sorry.
Okay, but I'm more than likely you're going to find yourself really enjoying the campiness of it.
Yeah.
The shots and layout are pretty easygoing, but it's just the funness of it. I don't think scoring a goal never gets old, and it's just an overall really fun game. And I think it gets overlooked mainly because of the theme, because it's soccer. And
I've never given it a second look. I know Chris has got one coming in a couple of weeks' time, so I'm going to go up to his and have a quick game on it.
Yeah,
but I think for the same reason you did, it's soccer. I'm not a big football fan.
Yeah, so and like that's the thing is that people overlook it mainly due to the theme, and then they play it and they're like, man, there's just something about this game that I really enjoy, and I find that the value in this game has gone up over the last couple of years, and that may or may not be due to my review on it, but it's a game that
this is what happens.
I don't see me getting rid of the game because it's one of those games where, like, you know what, I'm gonna play me some soccer. And I know my girls, they especially love playing it because it's always a fun thing whenever they score that goal. And it's the call outs. The call outs in that game by Kitzrow is just superb. So whenever you're making these shots and he's like, goal, just the way he makes the sound effects and everything, or if you're doing a horrible job and he's having difficulty controlling the ball or whatever, it's like, I know I am. I can't seem to. But it's definitely a fun game, and I think when you get it, you're really going to appreciate it, and you're going to see the attraction to it with the theme aside.
Well, to be fair, I've got two hobbies. Football or soccer, as you call it, and pinball. So I'm thinking it'll combine my two hobbies quite nicely.
Yeah. So yeah, if you like both of those, then you're probably really gonna love the game.
Yeah. Alan might not get his game back.
Yeah, but there's a couple of games I always tease the girls that I'm gonna sell, and one of them's that, and they're always like, no, they really do like that game. And then next to that is my Tales of the Arabian Nights. That is mainly for the wife.
Same designer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's both J-pop. So and that's the thing is my wife didn't realize that she had a favorite designer until she was telling me all the games that she liked, and she liked Circus Voltaire, she liked World Cup Soccer, she liked Tales of the Arabian Nights. I'm like, you may like J-pop designs then, because he designed all those games. So there's just something about the way he does things with the art and the ramps, and just it kind of reels you in.
Well, Spencer's favorite is Theatre of Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that for best part of, was it 15 years or so?
Yeah.
Maybe longer, actually.
Yeah, chances are she would probably like that game too. But every time
Theatre's lovely.
Yeah, every time we get one over here at like the Texas Pinball Festival, it's always like partially working. And the one that's like fully working and beautiful is merely just for display only kind of thing. And I'm like, what the
That's a shame. That is a shame.
Yeah, I know. So it's one of those where I'm sure she would love it, but we just haven't been able to play one that's fully functional kind of thing. But yeah, I got that one years ago. It came up online and it was like $1,000 cheaper than you typically would find them back then. And I was like, baby, if we're going to get this game, and we got to get it now, because this is the only time I'm going to be able to afford it kind of thing. So we got it. It's here. I tease about selling that, and she immediately says no. So I don't know.
Have you done a lot of work on it?
No, actually, I have not. The only thing that I've ever even changed on it, I've just merely added the Penn Stadium lights and put the Brian Allen artwork on there. Other than that, everything else is the way it was when I got the game. I haven't done anything to it yet.
That's pretty good going then. So you got a real bargain with it.
Yeah, so it's one of those where eventually, if I do get around to doing a full like restore and take apart and clean up and put back together again, I feel like it's probably going to be my most expensive one to do because that game deserves so much.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful piece of work, and so it's like you gotta. A lot of the times, it just looks really good when you put that brass plating on all of it and stuff, and it's like, yeah, that's gonna cost me. But my newest restore is the Johnny the Monicure. That is my most
I like that game.
Recent project to finish. Telemarketer. I don't want to talk to you anyways. Okay. So this is my most recent one to finish, and I recently just got back my plastics from CPR. I sent them out to him because they used my back glass, my Translite, for the mirrored back glass. And then he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, how are your plastics?" I'm like, "Well, my plastics look good too. I just wish you would have asked for them whenever I had them off of the game."
Yeah.
Because they're on the game now, and that's not going to be fun taking them off again. But he's like, "Yeah, the typical, you give me the old set or whatever, and I rescan them and stuff, and he'll send me a new one." I'm like, "Oh, I wouldn't have a problem getting a new set." So anyways, I send him the stuff. Long story short, he ended up not using them for reasons I can't divulge. So he sent them back to me. So I still had to put the plastics back on the damn thing. But but just let it be known that in the future there will be brand new Johnny Mnemonic plastics in the future
from CPR.
From CPR.
I was on his website yesterday. Actually, funny enough, looking at a playfield. So yeah,
it's in the works. I just don't know when, but they're gonna be out there. So that's one. I haven't released the finale video for this one yet because I feel like I'm just not done with it yet. I guess it's because I did so much with my getaway. I need to do a little bit more with this on the playfield. I mean, it plays fine. It looks beautiful and stuff, but I guess I just need to get some mods for it or come up with something. But there's not really a lot of mods available for this game.
It's got quite a lot going on as it is. There's a lot of mech on that game. It's a pretty good game to start with.
Yeah, without a doubt, I love what I've done with it so far. The coloring and everything, the playfield condition wise, the clear coating on it looks great. So as far as the powder coating on the exterior, I'm a little torn on it right now. There's parts of it where I'm like, yeah, I like that color. But another part of me is like, man, I kind of wish I would have gone with a different tone. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of it right now. And don't even get me started on getting the decals correct with this damn game. So I'm not sure if you've ever had to shop for Johnny Mnemonic decals.
No.
Okay, well.
I can't imagine it's easy.
So this is a story because I've had to go back. I think I still have a lot of them in the garage, and I brought a lot of them to Texas Pinball Festival too. Is that before I go just sanding down a cabinet, I want to make sure that I'm able to get other decals or other forms of way to get the art back on this machine. And so I was like, okay, cool. So Classic Arcades, I saw that they sell, the decals. I'm like, oh, sweet. So
happy days.
Yeah, it's like, so I bought them, and then I get them here and I open it up. I'm like, all right, cool, so they look like they look good and everything. So I sanded all the cabinet down, got to the point to where it was time to put these decals on, and I lay them down on the cabinet and I'm like, well, hold up. And I'm seeing that, and I go over this in my series when I get to that point in the restoration, is that the sizing isn't correct on it. The top of Johnny's head is actually getting cut off by the side rails once you mount the side rails. So like you could see everything, but if you want the game to look like it used to back in 1995, then you don't want it to be like, why is his head cut off on this one? Kind of, it would just basically highlight the fact that, hey, you've got the decals from so and so, because that's what his decals look like. So I had to hit him up and be like, hey, these are wrong of somehow or another, and had to explain to him the best of my abilities of what needed to be fixed, and things were sending pictures of what I'm showing him and stuff. And he's like, okay, I think I know what the problem is. Let me send you another set. So at first it started out, he was really kind and wanted to help me out. So he sends me another set, which, by the way, takes like a week or two. And I finally get the new set, and I open it up, and I'm just like, they're exactly the same. The exact same thing he's already sent me. I'm like, dude, this is not going to work.
And that's, how much, just so as we know, for people that are watching that don't know, how much a full set for a game like that?
Like $250, I think. Somewhere is
that £50,000 at the moment?
Yeah, it's like 250 American dollars to get a set of Johnny Mnemonic decals. And I'm like, this is not something. I mean, you gotta understand, like, this is not just me at my house, and it doesn't look good, and it's just for me and my collection. This is something I'm doing a video series on, that I'm gonna be showing people how to do this. And hey, and people are gonna want to know where I went to get these from. And I would like to be able to tell people, hey, go to this person. He did me good. But at this moment, I can't say that.
You ain't doing it.
And so I'm trying to reiterate this information to him without being like, hey, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Like, no, I don't want to be that guy, because I'm not that guy. But I'm just trying to tell you, I'm wanting to help you. Help me to help you. So, like, just, so anyways, I got the actual art file for Johnny Mnemonic, and I was like, good. So I fixed it. I was like, and I was like, here's the file to use. Print these and start using these going forward to your customers, and I will recommend you. So I know he took the files that I gave him. And so this is where the mistake falls on my end, is that I didn't, let's just say from where I had to extend things out and resize things, the black was not a true black in comparison to what it was and what I added. So whenever I rolled it out, I was like, no, you can see where, what the hell? And so I thought it was him at first. But then I opened up my program and I was like, let me see this. Hold on, let me click on the black. And I was like, yeah, it's all freaking zeros. And I clicked on this one and it's different numbers. And I'm like, shit.
So basically, you've got a CMYK black and an RGB black.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I was like, okay, I messed up this time. So I messaged him and I was like, all right, I know you want to stop talking to me. But like,
it's black. Black.
And basically it seemed like communication like just ceased after that. He was done with me. It seemed like he was just like, I'm done. I've already sent you, like, seriously, I have like 4 or 5 sets that are all wrong in some way or form in my garage in a box. I think I sold like maybe 1 or 2 sets at Texas Pinball Festival. I was like, if you don't care if the sizing is wrong, then yeah, you'll have a cabinet that has good color and everything on it and stuff. But so I had to take my file to a buddy of mine that I know runs a shop and print me out a set, and they look amazing. And then people were like, well, if I can't go to the classic arcades, where can I go, or how can I get the file? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot send you the file due to ethical reasons. But I'm here that decals somewhere over there in the UK, somewhere, forgot where they sell their stuff at. But evidently they make a pretty good, decent set for Johnny Mnemonic. But I can't recommend people go to classic arcades. I would love for him to use the new file that I've got that is correct. And I sent him pictures of my cabinet, like, hey, this is what it looks like now. Just start using this file.
You're blocked. You've already been blocked.
And I'll send people your way. I would love to send people your way, because you're here in the States, and I can vouch for you. Nothing. I don't know. Yeah, so Jeff hasn't talked to me since then. I might reach out one more time to see if he's cooled down. I understand he's got a lot going on. We had a verbal discussion at one point of how busy he is and how people just don't understand how busy he is and what he's dealing with and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm just, people want things to be right. Just saying.
Yeah.
But
so standard.
Yeah, so Johnny Mnemonic, so that's all good to go pretty much. And then I got my Stern Jurassic Park, and this is a game that I'm not getting rid of. This is one that I've been wanting since the game released. I just didn't think I was ever going to be able to get a hold of one. But I had my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, and it just so happened, it was fortuitous that somebody else had this game, and they were looking for a change in their lineup. And I was like, I'm looking for a change in my lineup? I mean, like the only change is that I would prefer to have a Jurassic Park. And I knew that my daughter, she really loves Jurassic Park. So I got the Jurassic Park for my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it was one of those where I'm like, sweet. He's like, yeah, we'll just trade it first, and if you like it or don't like it or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm gonna like it. Yeah.
There's not gonna be a problem with that or whatever. So, and it just worked out for both of us. He got it. He got my Turtles Pro. It had a couple of mods on it, and I got the modified Pro with the moving T-Rex on this one, and it worked out great.
Have you seen what Chris did with his T-Rex, with his Jurassic Park?
It's on the channel. Did we do it as an individual video? It's based.
I think it's on. Yes. I was about to say, we probably got it on the Facebook page as well.
Yeah, the armor.
But
was,
he
really
did all
nice,
the armor, and it was just a stunning job. Absolutely.
I didn't airbrush it. I can't airbrush it. I paid someone else to airbrush it for me. Let's get that right. I don't.
And many talents. He likes soccer. He likes pinball, and he likes airbrushing.
Yeah. I like watching all three. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very good spectator sport. That.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Jurassic. I've had Jurassic Park twice.
It's a good game. I like Jurassic Park.
It's a very, very, very good game. It's gone. I've also sold it twice, to be fair. That being said, I've also bought Infinity Quest twice and sold that twice. In fact, I've had it 3 times because I had one on loan to start off with. So the games, I've just had Iron Maiden. It lasted a week.
So you've already got rid of Iron Maiden?
After a week.
Yeah, he did. You were saying that sometimes it's really difficult if you've got to force yourself to play a game.
Yeah. So that was like that for him. Was it the music?
The music's terrible. I didn't particularly like the shots. It's quite funny actually because you'll know this with Bond coming out. A lot of people say if Gomez makes a clunky game. They say it's bricky, it's clunky. I love Gomez games. I've got a Deadpool. I've got Batman 66 here. I love a Gomez game. And it's quite funny, actually. So I heard everybody saying, James Bond, it looks clunky. And then I said, oh, by the way, I've got Iron Maiden here. I'm finding it a bit clunky. And so people say, oh, no, it's not. It's a bit clunky when you start, a bit rattly. But if you just hit the shots, once you start to learn the shots, it's fine. I say, well, why don't you apply that logic with Gomez then? That's the same shit.
Yeah, right? It's the same thing. Trust me. As I'm like talking shit about James Bond in a way, just to an extent, it's one of those where I'm like, yeah, it looks bad at first, but once he learns the shots, it looks good. Yeah. Well, yeah, like that's any game once you learn the shots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look, Godzilla's clunky, crikey. Star Trek, right? Steve Ritchie Star Trek Pro, which is probably about you almost can't miss a shot on there. When I'm playing badly, that's clunky,
Mm-hmm.
But if you had to rank all of Keith Elwin's games from best to worst, I mean, how would you rank them? He's only got the 4 so far.
Godzilla.
Okay.
First would be Jurassic Park second.
Yeah.
Avengers Infinity Quest third, but Avengers Infinity Quest might just have the best shots. It might have.
Avengers Infinity Quest has got the best shots, but I just cannot do the rules set.
Not the codes, but the rules. Look, you've got some great games behind you, which are easy to understand. And the very worst,
Iron Maiden
would be Iron Maiden. Terrible.
Iron Maiden was my first love for Elwin's game, obviously because it was his first anyways. But it was one of those where I'm like, all right, cool, let's see what you can do next, And then it was Jurassic Park. I'm like, he just keeps getting better and better, kind of thing. And then for some reason, whenever Infinity Quest came out, I mean, it looked cool as I'm watching the video on it. I'm like, all right, that looks pretty cool. But something about it was just, it didn't grab me. And I'm like, what is it going on here? That's why I did the video where I'm like, I should be excited, but I'm not. And that's what it was for me, is that I get on there. I'm like, oh, I'm loving these shots. It is buttery smooth going around here. Like, it feels great. Yeah. I love that wide ramp I can hit from all these flippers. It's great. I have no clue what I'm doing. But I know that whenever I'm hitting these shots, it just feels good, kind of thing.
You got to collect this sort of like crystal, and it goes on a glove, and you can give it to different. And it's just, I just don't get it.
Yeah, give it to Captain Marvel. No, don't take it off Captain Marvel. Give it to Captain America.
More to the point, I don't give a shit. I just want to play pinball and understand the rules,
But yeah, definitely agree that your top 2, Jurassic Park and Godzilla, that's definitely the top 2. So Infinity, I'm probably right there on par with you, but I think I lean towards more to Infinity probably being on the lowest. and Iron Maiden being in third. I don't know. I guess because I play Iron Maiden and I know what I'm doing on that one a lot more than on Infinity Quest.
It's not, but even that's quite hard. But at least I think I get it. If I understood the band and I understood what an Eddie was and I understood why they were.
He didn't know who Eddie was.
I didn't know who Eddie was. I thought all the members of the band were called Eddie, and it's saying Collect an Eddie. Crikey, there's a lot of people called Eddie in this band. But yeah, it's okay, but it had to go. It had to go. I was forcing myself to play a bit, and I sort of resented the fact I couldn't play Godzilla, and I had to play Iron Maiden because I promised to do a video. So I'll do a video. Oh, right. Do you know what? Funny enough, it's when you mentioned when you first started getting into. You did your YouTube, you're doing your gaming with your friends, and it became a job and it became a chore.
Yeah.
And then you got into the pinball, and it wasn't like there are some because I do this is my not pinball but YouTube is my job, is what I do, and sometimes it becomes a chore. And I looked at I made I just don't want to do it. I don't want to edit the video, I don't want to record the video, I don't want to play the game. And you know when you download the PDF from the Stern website, I looked at the PDF of the rules. I don't want to do this. And then I think there was a dead flip Iron Maiden thing, and it was nearly 3 hours long. I thought I can't do it. I just can't sit there and watch it to learn Iron Maiden. And then I really wanted an Aerosmith, and someone said, "Do you want to fancy swapping an Aerosmith?" I said, "Yeah, come on, let's do that."
I was actually I'm kind of just because I'm supposed to be going out to Chris's tomorrow, and I was kind of disappointed because we were supposed to be. I wanted to try Iron Maiden and see how bad it was. I'm quietly relieved now.
You might have liked it. Lots of people like it. I'm in the minority.
I have a sneaking suspicion I'll understand it slightly better than you will, but
and the thing is,
if it hasn't, got flow, I'm not interested.
Texas Pinball Festival, a buddy of mine, he has been wanting Iron Maiden for years, and he was like, "I'm gonna buy me an Iron Maiden." I was like, "Hold up, play Godzilla." No, he's play. Oh yeah, we played it all the time. We would go and play it and everything, and I was like, "Play Godzilla. You might change your mind." He's like, "I don't want no damn lizard. I don't need that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. I want my Iron Maiden." So he played Godzilla. And all I know is that I showed him to the machine and then I had to go do something. And like an hour or two went by and he came up to me. He's like, "Well, I just pre-ordered me a premium Godzilla." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Man, the hell of a game." I'm like, "I know."
So what else? So from Johnny Mnemonic, what else have we got there?
So after the Jurassic Park, I've got my Cactus Canyon remake,
which you love.
Yeah, I do. The code is pretty simple and basic right now. So simple and basic, and I'm not a digital pinball person, like pretty much at all. But we went on vacation in Florida about a month or so ago, back in August, and where we were staying, there just happened to be a digital pinball machine. And one of those was the original Cactus Canyon. And I was like, let's see if I can play the digital version as well as I can, the physical one. And yeah, I got all the way to high noon and got the grand champion score on that one too. I'm like, okay, so it's not just my machine at the house. I actually do know what I'm doing. Sweet. And I still need to get a review out on it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what the updated code is going to give us. That is the big question.
Now, I've got one of these things on order. I've got an LE on order.
Oh, yours are finally being made.
Are they?
We don't know. Oh, they are.
Yeah. Ellie's in production.
Wow, that's
Ellie's in production. They got all the parts for their topper. So
I've been waiting. Like I put my order in a year ago now.
Yeah. I think they put pre-orders in Expo last year, so almost a year.
Yeah, I mean it's literally within days when I put my deposit down on one. That's really good news. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, LEs are in production, so that's you should hopefully see your game before the end of the year.
Within my lifetime. Yeah,
maybe. But I was telling the wife because I was going between getting the LE as well, and I was like, I could do without the topper. And I'm one of those. I don't have very much patience either, and I knew that it was going to take a long time. And so the chances of me getting my SE were a lot quicker than me waiting to get my LE. And obvious because I've got my SE back in
would have been
March,
summer. Yeah.
April or May. I think April or May around that time. And and that was 7 months after they finally revealed the game. So it still took a while to get my SE, let alone an LE. out.
Because
So,
we were talking about this the other day. It's really difficult to get information about what's going on and what's actually in production and where they are with stuff. Because I was kind of laboring under the idea that maybe some people in the States had LEs already, and it's just taking its time to get over to the UK. But it's almost quite gratifying to know that they've only just started producing the LEs, because at least you know, they're on their way, and we're not just kind of stuck at the back of the queue because we're across the other side of the pond, you know?
Yeah.
But that game puts a smile on your face. That game is.
It does. It's a crowd.
We were lucky. They had one. There was one in Europe, and we're above Spencer's head. You've got Pinball Heaven, who are the biggest distributor in the UK. They sent us a machine to do a video with, so we were so lucky. It was one Cactus Canyon remake in Europe. We had it for about 3 weeks, Spence, something like that. So lucky. So it's so much fun. I hadn't really played it before, even the original, the Cactus Canyon Continued. I wasn't expecting the guys to pop up from the play field and the train and the Polly being untied on the track. But this is just fun. It's just
you get a good amount of bang for your buck too. That's the thing, is that you see the processing of what pinballs are now, and you're like, okay, well, hold on, Cactus Canyon. I mean, we've got a pretty good amount in it. It's an old game, a little dated. Code needs to be updated, but you've got a pretty good baseline with a lot in here, and the quality is excellent. I've opened this thing up, I've played it, and it's still going strong. I haven't had any issues with this damn thing yet. But
I was really impressed when I opened it up, because it's clearly, it's a really, really solid build in there. It's
heavy, really heavy, build. Wasn't it?
It's heavy. The cabinet work. I mean, I got really, really into this. I was just looking. Chris will laugh at this, but I was actually looking at the plywood they made it out of, because you can tell a lot. The end grain on the plywood was absolutely 100% solid. It didn't have little chunks missing out of the end of it.
I have been to their factory where the cabinetry is done, the Churchill cabinets. So the Churchill cabinets, their whole area for like building these things and their quality control for the play fields and how sensitive they are to going, nope, don't like that, redo it or throw it out. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of quality control I like to see and stuff. So I like seeing their quality and all these old machines that have been doing this stuff for up 20, 30, 40 friggin' years plus kind of thing. And what they've got coming in the future is going to really show it as well. They're going to be busy building cabinets and everything.
So, this is the company that builds the cabinets for Chicago.
Yeah, Churchill Cabinets. So it's Chicago Gaming Company and Churchill Cabinets. They're all in the same building. Yeah,
because they used to make the cabinets for the Bally Williams games, right? Have I got that right?
I don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me, because the way the quality is, the way it looks, and they have the machines that are already building this, and they haven't really changed much. But you open this thing up, and there's not much inside the cabinet that's different than your old Bally Williams stuff, with the way things are laid out, where the transformer's at. They don't have like the big old bulky transformer on the newer Sterns and stuff like that. They did away with it. That's why we have this loud pitch, annoying freaking fan that goes off every couple of minets on my Jurassic Park. Like, oh my god,
sounds like a dinosaur. Actually,
exactly. So I get that, but like going on about the game quality. The game quality is great. I think what I like most about it though is the call outs. I think I still get a random call out that I just don't hear very often, or I even haven't even heard yet before, and it cracked me up in the middle of my gameplay. And he was like, "Oh, Paul is tied to the tracks. Oh, and I think she likes it." I'm like, I was like, what? I haven't heard that one yet. I was like, that's awesome. So call outs are very important, and I love the campiness of it. It really cracked me up on that one. So yeah, definitely.
It's got a lot of humor. It's got character. It's definitely got character, and I think it's going to be a really, really, when that next code line comes out.
Yeah.
That's when things are going to get interesting with the game, because the base game, you can crack the base game pretty quickly, but there's a lot of potential there. It's a good solid game, and I think there is going to be a good code line in there, and it can go in pretty much any direction.
Yeah,
I think we've seen that Cactus Canyon Continued. I mean, you got Cowboys versus Aliens in that. That's, do what you like, really, can't you?
Yeah, like the music, dubstep and everything. I'm like, okay, it's not so much Western, but I could go with this kind of thing. Yeah. They bring out Bionic Bart on this one, and I love the music that goes along with that. And when you defeat him, you're like, oh, I just bought that thing, just little. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it cracks me up a lot of the times. And there's times with that game, is just relentlessly beats the hell out of me. There's times where I can't get through a mode. I'm like, damn, what the hell happened there? And there's other times where I just wipe the floor with it.
What's the you sort of alluded to it earlier, but I'm interested because you got kids as well. What's their favorite game? Do they like Cactus?
They do like Cactus Canyon. I think their favorite one is World Cup Soccer, though. That is one that
about threatening to sell it.
Yeah, World Cup Soccer is my youngest's favorite. Charlotte, my middle child, she loves Jurassic Park. That's her baby. That's why I did a video showing, like surprising her with it, because I know she loves Jurassic Park so much. She's kind of weird to where when we're watching Jurassic Park movies for the first time, she's laughing at the people that are about to die. Like, you're about to die. I'm like, you're rooting for the dinosaurs here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So whenever I told her that I was selling Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, she was sad. But I told her that I'm going to be getting another game today that I think she's really going to like. So that's all in the video. And I think it was around this time last year, actually, it happened. And so she was super excited to see that it was Jurassic Park. So to see that look on her face, I was glad to get that on video and everything. So it's a memory.
Yeah. That's really, really nice. We had a similar thing. I just had to sell. I didn't have to. Just sold Monster Bash right at the point when my 8-year-old daughter, she said, "Daddy, I really love Monster Bash." A day after I'd agreed to sell it, oh no, this is really bad. She said, seriously, I thought when you sold Elvira, it was a House of Horrors. I thought when you sold that, I wouldn't like another game, but I really like Monster Bash. But
you're a bad parent,
I'm a bad dad. I'm a bad dad.
I have never played a good game on Monster Bash. I haven't. I wish I could say that. Yeah, I'm real good at that game, and I bet the game shoots really well once you learn the shots.
It's good.
But I just recently had that tournament, and I had Monster Bash. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be bad, and it was bad. I did not do very
well. You've just done your first tournament, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you came away with a prize.
Yeah, I got like a second place in C division, so it's not like but it's I don't know. It's better than nothing. I was expecting expecting nothing, so to get away from there with a decent sized trophy and stuff like that, like, all right, cool. I see that certain people when it comes to tournaments, like, yeah, this is probably up their aisle. For me, not so much. I like to be able
I have to say I haven't caught the tournament bug.
Yeah, evidently it's a bug that hasn't grabbed me. I don't know if it ever will. Because like I said, when we're there and the tournament's going, and this guy that I know, he's got a bunch of machines, and it's like a lot of the time in a tournament you're waiting. Yeah. And like I said, I don't have patience. So, and I get bored, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to play a game while I'm waiting. Oh, I can't play that game because evidently someone's going to be playing it in this particular round or whatever, or something like that. And I got my hand slapped at one point because I wanted to play a round of something and I shouldn't have. And rules, like, all right, and I'll go back to just drinking and waiting.
Drinking beer, yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's good to try it. But you've got a love and a zest for doing the restorations as well. Mm-hmm. So there's so many facets to this hobby. Some people collect. Some people barely play their games; they just collect them. Some people are really into the tournaments. That's what they're into. Some people just love playing them. So, pizza and a beer. Some people are really into the restorations, and then all different ones, solid state or, EM machines or whatever it is. I think it's really good to certainly go and try the tournament stuff. I think you don't have to wait around if you don't qualify, though. That's where you got, even if it was C division, if you hadn't qualified, you would have had to wait around, do the qualifiers, lose, and then you get back to playing your games.
Yeah.
Yep, it was one of those where it's like, all right, these are the people for A division, B division, and they got to C division. I'm like, well, if I don't make it, I'm getting out of here. I'm just gonna go home, kind of thing, or whatever. And they're like, oh, and then they call my name out. And I was like, I kind of just wanted to be done, kind of thing. Well, but in a way, I'm glad I was at least in C division, because everybody else that plays better in like B and A division, their games go on a lot longer, obviously, than those of us that don't play as well. So I would have been like even more bored waiting for somebody playing a particular game and their ball's going on for millions and millions of points. Yeah. I'm just like, hurry up and drain.
We just had the UK Open over here, and I was watching really good player playing on Dialed In, And it did. I was watching the stream, and I'm not a great one. That's I've probably watched 2 streams all year of watching other people play pinball sort of thing. And he was so good. He was too good. And then funny enough, we got a guy, a friend of ours who's been on this channel a number of times. He did the Star Wars tutorial on here, Craig. And when we went to Pinfest, which is the UK's pinball festival. He got, I don't even know, I think it was 18 billion on Godzilla. He was playing Godzilla for 70 minutes, right?
Oh,
70,
man.
honestly. So, and he was playing doubles. I think it was with Gene.
He was in a doubles game.
He was playing doubles. And so, there you go. But we're fortunately, myself and Spencer aren't blessed with ability. Before I let you go, I'm just really conscious about time. I'm going to ask you two, I say simple questions, probably not. The first one's more simple than the second. What's your favorite game?
Godzilla right now.
You got one?
I wish I did own one. I mean, but Godzilla is one of those games where I'm like, man, I want to own this one day.
Okay, right. Okay. Something's got to go out your collection to get Godzilla.
I was about to say something.
If I had to get rid of one to get Godzilla, oh man, that's always a decision right now because it would have to get.
Don't think about it.
He's already thought about it. He's pretending he doesn't know. He's already thought about it. He knows.
I think it would be Tales of the Arabian Nights because it's my wife's game. Like I don't have that for me. I mean, that's okay. I play it. I've beaten it. It's fun and everything is beautiful and all that kind of stuff and junk. But I don't need it.
I didn't need Monster Bash it seems. Don't worry.
Kids, wives.
Yeah, kids, wives. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one for you. This may well take a bit of time. It's something I should ask everybody. I often forget, but I think it's a good question. The best single shot in pinball. It's a tough one. I'll tell you mine while you're thinking about it. I like the sniper shot in Judge Dredd, and I like the snicked shot in Deadpool.
The sniper shot in Judge Dredd, I don't know why you think that's so awesome, honestly. I don't really get a good feel whenever I hit that one. But okay. To each their own, but I'm like, okay. I think it's probably up there with Attack from Mars whenever you hit it into the UFO and the UFO starts to do its thing. I would even lean towards Medieval Madness in the castle because that's a really cool moment too with the castle, emulates being blown up. But I probably want to lean towards, I think probably Attack from Mars, shooting it directly up the middle on that shot.
Absolutely nice shot. We had one here until very recently, and Matt, whose game it was, kindly took it away, and he said, "I've got to come click Attack from Mars." I said, "Oh no," he said, "That's right. I'm going to lend you my Medieval Madness." Brilliant. Thank you. So, and fortunately, Jessica has been playing Medieval Madness today, and so all is forgiven with the Monster Bash. That's for sure. That's an hour has flown by. Thank you so much. For those of you that don't know, I'm sure you do. 99% of people watching this will already be aware of your channel, but just in case a few stragglers in the UK who don't know it, Cary, your channel is.
Go to youtube.com/Cary Hardy. It's CaryHardy.
And it will be in the link below. Literally in the little comment section underneath this screen, just there. Thanks so much for joining us, mate. I wish you all the luck in your world, in your pinball journey. I hope you don't sell Arabian Nights. I hope somehow.
I hope you get to keep it and you get a Jurassic Park.
No, but if the new code comes out for Cactus Canyon and it blows, then I may just sell that one. I don't know. I really enjoy Cactus Canyon, but if the new code comes out and I go through it, I'm like, okay, that wasn't really that big of a difference. Then I may sell it. Who knows?
Yeah, and you may well sell it before Spencer's even got his.
There you go.
That'd be horrible. I hope you get it soon, man. But I know that
I really hope I get it soon. That's good. That's good news. I'm pleased to hear that. I've learned something.
He is. We didn't know that when you said that news. We didn't know that at all. He's gonna be pleased. He's gonna message me later. Say,
I'm really lucky because I've got Godzilla coming here. Chris is lending me his Godzilla. And pretty much, I don't know how long for, but I've got a load of mods to fit to it. But it'll help me sort of tide over that gap.
Thing is, I've seen that game modded out. They've got some really cool stuff that you can put in that game now.
Mm-hmm.
man, I really need to get this game so I can pour a bunch of more money into it to make it.
Oh yeah, it's like a little sponge. It'll soak money until you got nothing
it's so
left.
good. I had, you wouldn't even know this, Spence. I had a thought last night when I was playing it.
Were you all right?
So
are you okay?
I got my second best score on it last night, and I thought this could end up being my favorite game. It's that good. It's a really
Chris. I've been down this path with you before. Elvira was your favorite game, and that was going to be a keeper, and that went.
Mm-hmm. But
you wait till Bond comes out.
I've stuck with my favorite game for over 2 years. All right, and I'm just saying, and I haven't said that about anything else for over 2 years, have I?
So we're saying that Deadpool is now not your favorite game.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this could well be my favorite.
It could
game.
Well be.
It's up there. I would now admit Godzilla is up there with the very best pinball machines. But he needs to redeem himself, Elwin, after that monstrosity Iron Maiden that he made.
Well, there you go. So
it's not a monstrosity. I mean, like, come on. I mean, like, I can get on board with it not being his best, but like a monstrosity, no. Hey, look, we got to get the thumbnail from somewhere. We got to get that clickbait from somewhere. No, I'm joking. We'll put your name all over the title, of course. To try
it's a monstrosity.
Harvest views.
That's the one.
Yeah, right there. Get that screenshot right there with that face.
Cary Hardy hates cactus and is selling it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Fake news.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We won't stitch you up. Thank you very much for joining us, Cary Spencer.
Pleasure.
You can go and be pleased now because they are.
I'm going to skip making around the car park. That is
screw
just
by
great
screw.
news.
They're putting together your very own personalised Cactus Canyon limited edition. Thank you very much for everybody that's tuned in. If you haven't done so already, please click a like on the video. Please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Loads and loads of content coming up on here. A lot of head-to-heads between myself and Spencer, playing doubles games. Mostly me winning. I got to be honest with you. We'll cut it off there. Thank you ever so much, Cary. Thanks for joining us. Best of luck with your channel, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Oh, thanks, Chris and Spencer, for having me, man. It's been great.
Cheers, mate.
Pleasure.